All right, folks, here we are at Introduction to NSX, what you've been waiting so long to see, right? This is our module 3 of our course, and what we're going to talk about here is, oddly enough, an introduction to NSX. Imagine that. And we're going to do this in kind of, we're slowly going to get access to NSX. We're going to talk about this in a 30,000 foot overview that we're kind of going to just look at a little bit of the use cases and some of the key features that NSX has without delving really deeply into the actual technology. We're going to focus here on the overview use cases and things like that. So we'll look at the use cases, and we're actually going to look at very briefly some of the licensing as well. The first use case we have with NSX is automation. We can use automation to, oddly enough, automate the implementation of networking services and security services. And when we do that in an automated fashion, of course, that means we can script things out. We can let our customers end up choosing just which aspects they need and things like that. And NSX totally integrates with our other cloud management features that we have available to us. Speaking of cloud management, maybe we've got a developer cloud we want to put together. Well, in a developer cloud where we've got a private network that's set up with our NSX environment, we can build a locally significant network for the developer to use and be able to see cross-network communication in their platforms. We also can automate a multi-tenant environment where each tenant has its own routing capability, each tenant has its own private network scheme, again, that they can use. And that can all be put together in an automated way. We can use vRealize automation, for example, to leverage NSX to allow a tenant to be able to put forth their own switches, their own distributed routing, and so forth. Next, we'll move on to security use cases. And this is really something that is a major component when NSX comes to the plate, so to speak. Micro-segmentation. I know, it's kind of a keyword, it's kind of a buzzword, it's kind of a really cool thing. Micro-segmentation with our distributed firewall in NSX will allow us to segment each virtual machine at each VNIC with firewall rules that can be put into place, not allowing any cross-tier communication that isn't explicitly allowed. That's what micro-segmentation brings. Security use case also includes DMZ anywhere. You know, you're so used to traditional networking where we've got a DMZ that's set up and that DMZ is located only in a specific subnetwork of our environment so we can control access to who's in the DMZ, what's in the DMZ, who has access to the DMZ. In NSX, that DMZ could be this machine, sitting right next to that machine. That's where micro-segmentation and the DMZ Anywhere come into play with the distributed firewall. We also can use NSX with, say, a VDI environment where we have virtual desktops that are configured. Each of those desktops can be protected with the distributed firewall as well. Once again, allowing for a very secure environment throughout your enterprise. Finally, we have some other application continuity that we could use NSX for. Disaster recovery is a huge topic lately. Was just having a discussion about a hurricane sitting over Houston for, golly, over a day where it just dumped rain, maybe day after day. What do we do in that case? Well, we have to be able to recover our environment as soon as is humanly possible, or as soon as is technologically possible. NSX can help with that because we could have networks spread over long distances, long enough to provide disaster recovery, not just one side of Houston to the other, if you know what I mean. Metro pooling does talk about one side of Houston to another, where we can set up resilient network interface that's going to reside all the way across town. And with network metro pooling of storage as well, we can have our infrastructure in place where we've got active sites that are going to be enabled across a metropolitan area. And then hybrid cloud. As days go on, as weeks go on, as months go on, we continue talking and moving towards having more and more information available in the cloud while being protected. NSX with microsegmentation and abstracting the network layer from the physical side allows us to move some of our resources into a cloud in a secure hybrid location. Private cloud, public cloud, compared between the two. We're partnering with more and more public cloud providers with NSX to provide those resources. And then we have compliance use cases. By design, right out of the box, microsegmentation can be implemented to protect all of our virtual infrastructure at the VNIC level. So we're all the way down to that core environment. We minimize the risk entirely by building security groups that would include virtual machines that we're protecting and having policies implemented to protect those machines. As far as NSX is concerned, we can see full visibility and context, not only from our monitoring standpoint, but from the application standpoint, looking at the context, looking at the visibility, understand the user that's involved, understand the application that's involved to protect the endpoints all the way through and allow us to monitor those endpoints all the way through. Yes, we're proud of what NSX can bring to the forefront, but we don't do it all. We don't have the expertise in some areas, such as application level firewalling, for example. We may want to go ahead and bring partners on board that have a deeper look at the packets as they traverse the network. Partners have joined with us to provide next-gen firewalls, web application firewalls, intrusion detection, intrusion prevention, and also they're on board with endpoint security to allow for antivirus, anti-malware, vulnerability assessments. And they partner with us by utilizing the NSX platform as the service provider for their individual services. In addition, we provide regulatory compliance by allowing monitoring to take place all throughout the infrastructure to make sure that we can get there from here. And that is what we look at from a compliance standpoint. NSX, as you are probably aware, is a licensed SKU. We get access to NSX through a licensing arrangement. And there's a variety of levels of licensing, from the standard edition that gives us our basic network virtualization to an advanced edition that will include microsegmentation with the distributed firewall. Plus, we might go to the enterprise edition, which will give you access to VPN access and cross vCenter type access. So we've got a level of licensing available to you to meet your needs, whereas you don't have to grab the top level license if all you need is microsegmentation, for example. We also have leveraging vSphere's remote office, branch office licensing. We have NSX licensing for Robo to match that as well. Now, there's a hyperlink shown on your screen that has a knowledge base article that lists all the different license capabilities that we have and what matches what will exactly meet your enterprise's needs. So please check with that website to look to see if you've got what it takes with NSX licensing. Now, we kind of just went over in this segment the identify and describe the NSX customer use cases and look at the different licensing. And since this module is actually shorter than most, we're going to go ahead and hit right into our wrap-up right now. And our wrap-up is going to say that we just discussed our main uses. Really, we were talking about security, application continuity, IT automation, and then the compliance. We also discussed microsegmentation as being a way that we can provide that detailed security all the way down to the VNIC of every single virtual machine. And that'll really wrap up this Module 3 on overview of NSX.